Today is the 7th of December 2023, and this will be our 14th video lesson since we started looking at possible questions. Thank you everyone who have subscribed to our channel. I appreciate it a lot. Okay, and if you haven't already, can you please consider subscribing to our channel, and please share our videos, like them, and follow us on some of the platforms. Okay, I'll really appreciate that. And if the account is not yours, please ask permission from the account holder. It's very important. Or you can ask, if you are below the age limit, you can ask your parents to help you open an account. Or, assuming you are not keen on computers, okay, you can also ask someone to help you open an account. That is if you're above the age limit and you are just not keen on using the internet, okay, but you want to have our videos to help your child do well. You can also ask somebody to help you. Okay, there's somebody out there close to you who can help you get your own account. Okay, thank you very much on that. And then on the comment section, I normally write, please follow my notes/script. Okay, this is not like if I decide to show you everything at once, you might be overwhelmed and guess I might lose you. So I show you bit at a time whilst I explain to you how I will solve it. Okay, because when I was learning at school, we use blackboard and chalk. So the teacher write a bit, we make notes, he or she rubs it off, and then write more. This time, because of computers, they might ask you to go and just read, or maybe they might print and just come and give it to you, and then automatically they think, oh, you should know it. But it's not everybody who learns that way. Okay, I've learned. So normally I think I want to just be authentic as possible, and then just walk you through and talk you through how I will solve it. Okay, so that's why I don't show you everything at once. Okay, now beware of scammers. Okay, this they might it's a lot of work if you want to deal with these people, but just beware. Okay, internet is a very good thing, but there are people using it to do some horrible stuff, so just beware. That's why if you are below the age limit, I'll rather like your parents to help you open an account. In that way, they can keep an eye on you. If somebody is trying to do or maybe talk you in a wrong direction, maybe they can find out early and help you out of it. Okay, so that you not become a victim. Okay, now watch our last video for recap. Okay, we are solving some questions because I have the people who are writing in next year, April, May, June. okay, in mind. If I want to do all the topics, we wouldn't be able to do anything, okay, because there are topics that I can use like 4 videos to do, but I've done a lot to help the foundation people if you still want to do a foundation paper. But I'm also trying to have a balance so that I can bring in questions. Okay, in foundation paper, some of the questions are a bit sinister and a bit tricky, so I want to get solve as much question with you, so that those writing the higher paper and the foundation paper can benefit. And maybe if you are doing a foundation paper and you decide to change your mind to do a higher paper, then because you think like you are a bit more confident, then you can do that, okay? But I'm making notes as I go along, and maybe at some point I might come in and do some topics with you, or as I explain the question, I'll chip in a bit here and there, and then gradually I don't know how that will work out, but at the moment we are solving a lot of questions. We've done a lot of topics, okay, that you can go and look at if you don't understand. Now today I'll start, okay, it's a trivial thing, you think everybody will understand it, but at times even the higher paper people, they find it a bit difficult to understand this. So I thought I'll bring a starter. So let's consider this decimal. It's in 4 figures, 0.4567. So you did a work, and this was your answer on the calculator. And then the question says, put your answer to 1 decimal place. So 1 decimal place is 1 decimal, one number after the decimal. So you have 0.45. 5 is greater than so 567. So this 5 here, I'll round it off. Okay, so now I have 0.45. Okay, so assuming I had 0.43, then it will get you 0.4. But because of this 5, okay, 5 upwards, I'm going to round it down or up. Yeah, up. And then I have 0.5. So 1 decimal place will be 0.5. Okay. Now the same decimal, 2 decimal place. So 1, 2. But after 5 I have 6, which is greater than 5. So to run it to 2 decimal place, I have 0.46, which I have here. One significant figure. Okay, so one significant figure, if it's like 1.6, one significant figure will be 2. Okay, but this is 0, so it's not considered as a significant figure. Assuming it is 0.405, then the 0 between the 4 and 5 will be considered as a significant figure. Okay, but this 0 here is not. So one significant figure here will be 0.5. Okay, so that is what I have here. Now 2 significant figures, again, 0.456. This 0 is not a significant figure. Okay, but assuming I had 0.405, Okay, then the 0 between the 4 and 5 will be considered. Okay, so now to two significant figures, I have 0.4546. Okay, because 6 is greater than 5. So I have 0.46 to two significant figures. Let's quickly look at the second one. 0.3015. Okay, so to one decimal place it will be straight for a 0.3 because this is less than 5. To two decimal places it will still be 0.30 because this is also less than 5. So that will be it. To one significant figure it will be 0.3. That's what I have here, one significant figure. To two significant figures here, okay, this is what I was saying earlier. Because the 0 is between 3 and 1, it's now considered as a significant figure. So to two significant figures it will be 0.30. Okay, there. Now to three significant figures it will be 0.301. This is a cartoon for because 1, 2, 3 after the decimal 3 significant, but after 1 is a 5, so I have to round this up. So three significant figures will be 0.302. So that's what I have here. Yeah, okay. Now today's question is also an exam paper. Okay, we have a triangle here. Okay, and I can use only one method to solve, but I have three methods and I'm going to use it to solve. Okay, so let's get on. Okay, I don't want to this thing. So the example is work out the height of the triangle ABC. My diagram is not to scale, so look at the diagram again. That is a triangle. That is a right angle triangle. That is A, that is B, and that is C. Okay, and that is 10 centimeters, that is 12 centimeters, and that is 15 centimeters. Okay, assuming I knew from this side here A to the base of the height here where the right angle is, I would have just used Pythagoras and then use one of the triangles to solve. But they didn't give me that. They gave me the full length of the triangle. Okay, and the base I know, the height, and I don't know the area, so I can't find the height. If I knew the area, then it would be half base times the height. I'll use the area and use the height and find the height as the subject and use that with this long part to solve. But now they've given me this part and they've asked me to find the height. Okay, now we haven't done trigonometry. Okay, but if you are doing a higher paper at this point, or additional maths, okay, I think you might have done it. So I'm going to use three methods, okay, to solve. Okay, stay with me. Now before we answer the question, let's quickly put some important information on our flashcard. So look at this right angle triangle. We know what the hypotenuse look like. That is the long part. Okay, the part opposite the angle 90. We saw that in Pythagoras. Okay, if you have an angle here, okay, this part here is opposite to this angle here. This is where you need to follow my note. This is theta. Okay, this is the sign for theta. So this angle here, whatever you might decide to call it, is opposite. This length is opposite this angle. Okay, now the same angle here, this part is adjacent. Okay, so if we write O for opposite, okay, and adjacent for A, and H for hypotenuse, okay, assuming you can use Pythagoras, you can use another thing. Okay, so assuming you were finding this angle, okay, and you know this length, the opposite, and the hypotenuse, okay, then the opposite divided the sine of this angle is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So I have here sine theta, that one is here, is the opposite, this length here, the opposite to the angle, times the, or divided by the hypotenuse here. So you will normally write sine theta equals O over H. Okay, in school we normally say so sine theta equals opposite over the hypotenuse, the opposite to the angle you are using to solve. Okay, not opposite to any angle. So this, if you are using this angle here, this side will becomes the opposite and the hypotenuse remains the same. Now the cosine of theta, okay, is adjacent again over the hypotenuse. Okay, so the cosine of this angle here, that angle is adjacent to this angle here, and the hypotenuse remains the same. So the cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, so here you have A over H. So we have so ka, and then the tangent of this angle here, theta, okay, will be the opposite angle over adjacent. So if you know the opposite of this angle and the adjacent, then you will use tan. Okay, if you know the opposite side over the hypotenuse, then you are going to use sine. Okay, if all you can do on your calculator, this will come in a calculator paper. If you know the adjacent and the hypotenuse, then you can use cos, okay, to find the angle or anything they're asking you to do. Okay, so in effect, sine theta, cos theta, tan theta. So normally we represent it by so ka twa. Okay, so sine theta will be opposite over the hypotenuse, the opposite length to the angle, and then divided by the hypotenuse. Okay, cos theta will be equal to the adjacent length side of the triangle to the to your angle, and then the hypotenuse. The tan of theta here is the opposite over the adjacent. So we have the so ka twa. Okay, if you know these things, when you get to the exam room, you can just write it. Or if you see a question like this, you can just write it on this side so that you know what you are dealing with, when to use sine, when to use cosine, and when to use tan. And your calculator will help you do this. Okay, so this is a little bit on this side. If I do trigonometry as a topic, I will go back and explain this. But if the higher people, I need just to remind you of that. Okay, if you're in the foundation level and you think this is too much for you, you can wait till the end, because I'm going to use 3 methods to solve this equation. Okay, now, so knowing this, okay, that is the first bit. Okay, then yesterday or the day before, there was a question and I came out and I used the sine rule, and I re-gave you the quadratic equation, and I also gave you the cosine and the sine rule, the formula. Okay, and I asked you to put it on your flashcard. Okay, today we are going to use the cosine rule. The other day we use the sine rule. So A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. Okay, we solve a question with that. Today we are going to use the sine rule. Okay, so because if you know this, it's quicker and easier to solve this question that way. Now the sine rule says, so look at the diagram again carefully. Okay, this is the angle at A here, and the length A here, the length opposite the angle A is your small a. Okay, the angle at B, the length opposite your B is your angle at B. The angle at C, the length opposite your angle C is your angle, your C. Okay, so the cosine rule says, okay, assuming I want to find this side here, okay, then I'm going to use the angle at A. Okay, so now the cosine rule says that if I want to find this side, A squared, then it will be B squared plus C squared minus 2BC, the angle at A. That is if I'm looking to find A squared. Okay, so whatever angle I want to find, the opposite, the length, is A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos of A. That is the angle opposite this length here. Yeah. Now let's go back to our question. So if we look at the question carefully again, okay, so if we look at our question carefully again, look at the question here. Yeah, okay, I'm going to use this angle here. Okay, so if I'm using this angle here, this 10 centimeters here becomes my A squared. Okay, this 10 centimeters become my A squared. So now, and then the 12 centimeters is my B, because it's the angle opposite to B. And then the 50 centimeters is my angle C. But here, because it's divided into two parts, they haven't told, it's not symmetrical, because this is 10 centimeters and that is 12 centimeters. Again, this diagram is not to scale, so these angles are not the same. So I can't use the angle as C because it's two different angles, okay? But I can use the angle at B or A, okay? Because to find the angle at B and then use what I've just shown you, this thing here, so catois, to find the height. Okay, I'm going to show you how I did it. Okay, so that will be our first method. So using method 1 to solve this question, okay, that might be the easiest if you are doing higher maths, okay, because I think you should know this. If you are doing higher maths or additional maths, this will be the easiest way to solve it, okay? But I'll show you something else that can also help you solve it, assuming you are a foundation student, okay? So using the cosine rule, I've written A equals 10 centimeters, B equals 12 centimeters, and C equals 15 centimeters. From the question I've been given, this is my diagram. I'm going to pause for you to have a good look, okay? So B, the angle here is, the B here is 12, the A here is 10, and then the C here is 15, okay? But all I need, if I'm using the cosine rule to apply to this angle here, all I need to find is this angle, okay? So now I've used the diagram to put down the information I need to use the cosine rule, okay? So now A is 10 centimeters, so A squared 10 centimeters all squared, B squared 12 all squared, okay, C squared 15 all squared. This information I got from the diagram I just showed you, which I paused, and then minus 2BC, so 2 minus 2 here is part of the equation, okay? B is 12, C is 15, so here, and then cos of A, okay? Because my A, the angle opposite A, the length is 10 centimeters, which I've written here. Now, making cos A the subject, a while ago or yesterday, I tried to use the starter to make find the subject. So it means your final answer should be reduced to cos A. So the cosine of A here, now cos A is here, and I need to manipulate all of this to get cos of A. I was going to write it straight away, and I thought, let me take it step by step, okay? So now look at the equation again. So I'm going to bring the minus affect everything here. So I'm going to put all this to the other side. So if I bring that, I now make it positive, because it's easier to work in positive than work in negative, okay? So now bringing all this part here, I've gotten rid of this negative here now. So I have 2 into bracket 12 all 15. So 2 times 12 times 15 cos of A equals, now because I've brought this to this side, I'm going to leave this on this side and add the 10 to it. So I have 12 squared plus 15 squared. This is plus, so if it comes, it becomes minus. That's what I have here. Okay, so I've just moved the equation around to get this. Okay, so now I can make cos A the subject by dividing both sides by 2 times 12 times 15. So now I have 12 squared plus 15 squared minus 15 squared divided by all of this, 2 times 12 times 15. Okay, now I have to use the calculator. Remember, it's a calculator paper. So 12 squared is 144. You can do this straight on the calculator if you are used to your calculator, or you can do it bit by bit. Okay, I'd rather you do it bit by bit and get the right answer than to jumble everything up, get the wrong answer, because if you get the wrong answer here, your final answer will be wrong. So 12 squared will be 144. 15 all squared will be 225. Okay, and then 100 squared will be 100 divided by 360. If you multiply the denominator, you're going to get 360. Then now if you do the numerator and the denominator correctly, you are going to get 269 over 360, and then I put it at 4 decimal place, so in all you get 0.7472. Okay, now the cos of A is now written as the cos inverse of everything here. So the cos inverse, you use your calculator to do that. So you press your shift and then press cos, and then it will give you this angle here, 41.7. Okay, so now this now is your angle at A here. Okay, this now is your angle at A here. Okay, now you know the angle at A here, you want to find the height here, and you know the hypotenuse. So now what I showed you earlier, the sine of this angle here that you just found, the sine of this 41.7, okay, will be equal to, that is your opposite, the SOHCAHTOA I just showed you, the opposite divided by the hypotenuse, using this triangle 1. So now because I found that angle, okay, at A, to find the height, okay, this height that we've been asked to find, it will be sine 41.7 equals the height, okay, divided by the hypotenuse here, which is 12. Okay, because this is a right angle, that is also a right angle, so that will be 12. Okay, so that is what I did here. So if you do that correctly, okay, so the height now will be 12 sine of 41.7, the angle you found earlier. Okay, so if you do 12, first do sine 41.7, it will give you this figure. Multiply by 12, you are going to get the height 7.98 centimeters. To 2 decimal place, to 1 decimal place, or the nearest whole number, you get 8 centimeters. Your unit was 8 centimeters, so the height is what? 8 centimeters. That is the first method. Okay, now the second method is the same reasoning. So you can use, I use this angle. Okay, found this angle, use the sine, the height divided by the hypotenuse, and I found h. I can also use this angle here, okay, and use the sine rule. And then if I'm using this angle here, okay, now my formula becomes the angle b squared equals a, and in terms of a and c. Okay, so the second method, okay, using the sine rule, I can do b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos of the angle opposite to the side b. Okay, that is my b squared here. That is my angle b. First we did this angle. You don't have to do all, you can just choose one. Okay, so this will be my b now. So again, my b is the same thing. So my b is 12. Okay, so I'm using this formula now, but now I'm using the other angle at b. So now my formula should be b squared. Okay, I should use the length at b. So if I substitute this, I have 12 squared equals 10 squared, which is a squared, plus c squared, 15 squared, minus 2ac cos of b. Now if I use the same process I just did to solve the equation, okay, then I'm going to arrive then I'm going to get that, okay, and then I just have to make cos b the subject as we did, okay, which I think if you are doing higher paper you should do. Okay, so if I do that, my cos inverse becomes 53 degrees. So now I can use the sine if I do that correctly. So I can find the sine of this angle, again opposite the height over 10. So when I did that, I had sine of 53 equals h over 10. Okay, so h now will be 10 sine 53. Again, if you simplify, you get 8 centimeters. Okay, you can go and try it. Okay, use the diagram and try that. So that will be the second method. You use the cosine rule for the angle. H should be the second method. Okay, now the third method, which I think those doing foundation can understand. Okay, now we can use Pythagoras, okay, but we need to look at the angle as 2. So I divided this angle is T, triangle is T1, and that triangle is T2. From here to here is 15 centimeters. So if I denote this side by x, this side will be 15 minus x. Okay. So using Pythagoras for this triangle here, 15 minus x all squared, h all squared, okay, no, 10 centimeters all squared will be equal to h all squared plus 15 minus x all squared. So here I am. Okay, so y equals 15 minus x. Okay, so using Pythagoras for triangle 2, I have h all squared, which is the height I want, and then 15 minus x, okay, will be equal to 10 centimeters. Okay, so now if I simplify h squared, so if I simplify this 15 minus x all squared, I will reduce it, okay, step by step, and I'll get h squared equals minus x plus 30x plus 125. That will be my first equation. Now I'm going to consider the second triangle here, this one. Okay, so x squared, okay, plus h squared will be equal to 12 centimeters all squared using Pythagoras. So now x squared here plus h squared will be equal to 12 centimeters. So now h squared will be 12 centimeters all squared minus x squared, which will give me 144 over x squared. Now I've got two equations in terms of h squared and h squared, so I can equate both. Okay, so when I equate both, okay, I have 144 minus x squared will give me the other x squared I found, minus x squared plus 30x minus 120. Now this is minus x squared. If I bring this minus x squared to this side, it becomes plus x squared. So the x squares will cancel out. Now here now I'm left with 30x minus 125 minus 144. And then if I bring this 144 to this side, okay, so now I have 0 equals 30x minus 296, assuming I did this fairly. So 30x, making x the subject here, 30x will be equal to 296. X will be 296 over 30, which will give me 8.97 centimeters. But we haven't finished. We've just found x. X is this part here. X is gets this part here. Okay, that part here. So we found that part here. Okay, so now that we know x from this equation, we can find the height, and we've already started to know that h squared equals 144 minus 8.9 all squared from the triangle that we did earlier. Okay, so now h squared will be 144 minus 80.4609. H now will become plus or minus 63, the square root of 63.5391. Now we choose the positive side because it's length. Okay, so H will be, if you do this accurately, it will give you 7.97 or 8 centimeters. Okay, that is if you haven't done trigonometry, but this is the longest one, but you can have a go. Okay, so in the method 4 is the same thing. Instead of this one saying this is x and that is 15 times x, you can say that part is x and that part will be 15 times x, and you go through the same method. All you need to do is to do it step by step. Okay, and then you should arrive. That's why in maths, if you stretch your neck, somebody might be using a different method. Okay, the first two methods, if you've done trigonometry, are straightforward because you just need to do the cosine rule and then use the angle, find the sine of the angle, and then find the height. But if you haven't done that, you can use this method as well. Okay, find H in terms of T, the first triangle. Find H in terms of the second triangle. Use the Pythagoras rule. Okay, equate them together. And then you solve for x. And after you finish solving for x, whatever you get, the x squared plus the h squared will give you the 12 squared. Or you just go back and substitute it in what you did earlier when you started with triangle 1. And when you do that also, your answer should be 8 centimeters here. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with you today. Our lesson is a bit longer because it looks like a simple question and it looks like, oh, I've not done trigonometry, so I can't do it. But you've done Pythagoras. It's just that if you use Pythagoras, it will be a lot longer, but you still get the marks if you do use Pythagoras and you do it step by step. If you know trigonometry and you know SOHCAHTOA, the sine of the angle, the cos of the angle, how to apply that, and the cosine rule, then that will be the shortest you can do. Okay, but if that's why when you start the paper, don't waste time on some of the questions, because some of the questions you can get through it so that you can have time to think about some of these questions. Okay, so assuming you haven't done trig and you want to find the angles in terms of h using Pythagoras, it will take you a bit long, but if you do it step by step, make h the subject, equate them, you still arrive at the same answer, but it will be a longer. But I would rather have you do it and get the steps right and get the full marks. Okay, so yeah, this is what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you so much for watching our lesson today, and I'll see you in the next.